You've lived your whole life in a world that completely hates and mistreats you. And now you've been given godlike powers. What do? You'll be forced to battle other girls with horrifying powers as well. And on top of that, you'll be forced to stop godlike beings hell-bent on destroying the entire world. And nobody here is your friend. I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the magical girl gods in Magical Girl Sight. This girl is going to be forced to battle an incoming god sent to destroy the world. Aya here is a schoolgirl that hates life and herself. Trouble follows her daily, and she is losing the will to live. After school, she heads home to a family that doesn't care about her, and she is overshadowed by her high-achieving older brother. And this glasses-wearing brother is named Kaname. He hates Aya and is secretly a psycho and will try to kill Aya before she knows it. Later that night, she lies in bed, beaten to a pulp when her laptop screen turns on and a creepy melody begins playing. She cautiously reads the words on the screen, the Magical Girl website. This sinister girl then appears on the screen and offers to give Aya special powers and change her unfortunate life forever. She tells her that the website will soon deliver her a magical wand, but she gets creeped out and closes the laptop shut. The next day at school, she discovers a special present inside her locker and realizes that it's the magical wand along with a note stating that Aya is now officially a magical girl. She thinks it's a joke, but doesn't realize that this wand and many others like it will cause deaths all over the world. Later that day, trouble at school becomes too much, and she gets chased outside by these awful girls and this douchebag. Hiding behind this car, she desperately tries to silence her terrified tears, but gets discovered. Knowing what horrifying fate awaits her if she doesn't do something, she whips out her magical wand and instantly fires it, activating her powers and sealing her fate. The man and the mean girl disappear from view, but Aya suddenly hears the bloody sounds of crushed bodies and loud screams coming from the nearby train tracks. Looking on from a distance, she then realizes that she just murdered 2 of her classmates, and blood begins to run from her eyes, and someone watches her from the distance. She runs home and tries to find out more information about what the hell is going on, but discovers that the magical website doesn't exist and goes into a fitful sleep, terrified about what is coming her way. The next day at school, a friend of the dead girl named Sarina confronts Aya, and she thinks that somehow she's responsible for her friend's death. In an act of vengeance, she tries to surgically tear her cheeks off, but that's when everything around them freezes. And suddenly the same girl from yesterday appears and introduces herself as Yatsumura. She reveals that she's done the impossible and has stopped time all around them. She is a magical girl too, and this is her power, the ability to control time. Without hesitation, she grabs the knife and slits Sarina's throat right in front of Aya, telling her that they don't have time to mess around because she needs to tell her all about the Magical Girl website that apparently does exist. Yatsumura gets Aya out of there and then unfreezes time, unpausing Sarina's terrifying accident, and tells her that her wand has the power of instant teleportation. And with this power, she should use it to cause harm to anyone that tries to threaten her again. Heading back to her house, they run into Aya's brother. Oh no. But thankfully, Yatsumura can sense the glasses guy energy coming from this weirdo and tells Aya that she knows that her brother is a creep. But that's when Aya gets informed of even more bad news. She is warned that each time they use their magical power, their life force drains. And the tattoo that all magical girls get represent their life points. And once it runs out, they die. Okay, Liz, what? These girls have just made it to school. They've made a heck of a lot more terrifying, and now we're gonna have to figure out the situation. Listen, if I was Aya, I would first assume that since Yatsumura is a magical girl, and the process to becoming a magical girl is through a website, and not some One-Punch Man workout routine, I think it would be safe to assume that there are more magical girls out there, since the, recruitment process is, kinda easy. Knowing that there are others out there like me, I would first post on Reddit in Japan calling out to any other magical girls out there to hit me back, send me a message. Hopefully someone will get back to me. And during all of that, I would try to figure out the full extent of my powers and my weaknesses by analyzing my tattoo. Yatsumura in this regard is an idiot. She earlier told us to use our powers to rid the world of evil. But in doing this, we'll eventually run out of life force and die. So maybe we shouldn't rely on our powers entirely. If this tattoo's, you could say, health bar goes down each time we use our powers, I would try to measure how much this tattoo would go down or disappear each time we blasted our wand. Once I figured that that risky part out, it will subconsciously force us into relying more on our intellect and tactics and other tools that we can use that are at our disposal instead of using our powers. And this is why I would grab a knife for one, turn on YouTube, and begin to learn some knife, as this will allow me to become more competent in using some sort of ranged weapon. Since guns in Japan are hard as hell to get, it will likely give us an edge, literally, because when we eventually meet more magical girls, they're all likely going to rely on their powers. Because what Aya is facing right now is seriously messed up. And I didn't even include the bit in the story where she made friends with a stray cat that got brutally murdered by one of the mean girls. Yeah. It's really awful. Yatsumura warns Aya that there are more magical girls out there, and they are all more violent than anyone can imagine, and tells her that before she found her, she was working with another magical girl who recently went missing. They were working together to stop a murderer known as the Magic Hunter. This person had been stealing all the wands of the magical girls around town, and this killer has now gotten to her friend as well, or so she thinks. Yatsumura asks Aya for her help in stopping this killer and getting to the bottom of the magical girl website mystery. Since they've all now joined this strange club, they'll now likely be targeted soon unless they do something. The next day, Aya walks back home from school when she comes across a strange girl who is in need of her help. She asks Aya if she wouldn't mind dying right now, and she activates her magic powers, and Yatsumura in the distance freezes time but realizes then something terrible. That girl is a magical girl too, and now has Aya trapped inside of some kind of magic force field, unable to do anything. Yatsumura discovers that this person is the magical serial killer. The killer begins to bleed and tells Aya to hand her wand over. Aya tries to escape, but she tells her that this box is unaffected by the outside world, and there is no escape. Oh my gosh, this is terrifying, because we know that this person has killed before in the past many times, and this means that they're probably likely not going to hesitate to kill Aya if she steps out of line at all. But there are a few ways that we can try to get out of this. Listen, okay, first what we need to do is to close the gap between her and Aya, because the killer has a long-ranged weapon, right? If I was Aya, I would first use the killer's preconceived view of us to our advantage, and would first collapse to the floor in sadness, looking as harmless as hell, and the killer, judging from that reaction alone, because she seems to be the type to really gloat and enjoy the murdering process to its fullest, she'll think I'm weak, I'm pathetic, so she'll likely waltz right on over to get up close and personal and absorb all my juicy, horrific suffering. But once the gap between her and us is closed, I would utilize my Japanese school bag here as a serious weapon, because I'm not even kidding, this thing is heavier than it looks. Classrooms in Japan sometimes don't let children keep textbooks and notebooks after class, which means it's common for kids to come and go with all the necessary class items that they need every day. And this is what makes the average weight of a Japanese school bag around 4 kilograms, which means that once the distance is closed, I'm gonna use my heavy-ass backpack and knock the shit out of her with it. Once she is knocked down, I would then try to go for her eyes and stab big, huge holes in those things and take her out. See how easy it is to shoot off your wizard powers like Gandalf without having any eyes. You're not going to be able to see shit. From there on, she would be forced to deactivate the force field, and we'd be scot-free, and she'd be dead or blind. The killer tries to smash Aya's head in, but she dodges, and Yatsumura begs Aya to use her weapon, and so she does, firing her weapon and deactivating the force field. Yatsumura tells Aya that she can teleport someone wherever she wants as long as she imagines it in her mind. Finding the killer, they later capture her, but Yatsumura realizes something terrifying. She knows who the identity of this killer is, and reveals that the magical girl killer is actually her friend that recently went missing, Shioi. She used a magic wand and this camera to change her identity and to lure Aya in. Out of options, Shioi then breaks down and then says that she had to kill all those girls because of something horrifying that is headed their way. If she doesn't, she won't survive till the end. Concerned, Yatsumura asks, what the hell is she talking about? Shioi confesses that she needs to find as many wands as she can in order to give it to a powerful god that will soon arrive on Earth, known as the Tempest. She discovered this while investigating the Magical Girl website and met with one of the site's administrators to find out more. The same administrator that gave Aya her powers. And that's when she starts coughing up blood and suddenly goes into shock, forcing these two girls to quickly call an ambulance. Later at the hospital, they find out more bad news. Shioi's body has taken on too much internal damage, and the girls suspect that it's because of all the wands that she's been using. Yatsumura tells Aya that they need to figure out what more Shioi knows, and they need to find out a way to wake her up. And Aya comes up with a brilliant idea and thinks that there might be another magical girl out there who has the power to heal her with magic. Taking Shioi's murder notebook that contains the pictures of all the nameless magical girls out there, looking through it, they recognize one face. This girl who goes by the name Nijimin, and she is an international pop star. And they find out that she's putting on a concert, and so they head on over there and pretend to be her biggest fans. And at that moment, the two combine their powers and freeze time and teleport them and Nijimin away to a more private location. Here, they tell her that they are magical girls and confront Nijimin about her powers. But this pop star gets way too excited and tells them that she's always wanted to meet others like her. Oh, that's so great. I'm really scared about what's gonna happen next. Aya then tells her that they're looking for a magical girl that can help get her friend out of a coma. But then suddenly, some of Nijimin's managers arrive and carry her back to her concert. She yells at these two to come meet her at her apartment later tonight to discuss things further. Wasting little time, they eagerly rush over to her apartment that night. But Yatsumura thinks that something fishy is going on. Nijimin greets them and takes them up to her place, where she has all of these butlers serving her. But that's when this pop star reveals her wand. It's her underwear, and it has the power of mind control. And these two realize how powerful this girl really is. Yatsumura asks her if she has ever met any other magical girls before, and that was her biggest mistake. Nijimin begins to get serious and mentions that she was once close friends with another girl like her, but that girl ended up getting murdered right in front of her by a sadistic killer. She starts to go deeper into her thoughts and very quickly turns full psycho and draws the face of the murderer on this paper. And these two quickly realize who exactly she's talking about. It's Shioi. Okay, we've just discovered that these magical girls are more nuts than we thought, which means we have to behave with extreme caution because why don't you know it, they're insane! But there is something that I have noticed. Due to Nijimin's power, it's likely that she used it to help her out in her career and is clearly using it in her personal life 24/7 as we can see. But just like her, it's noted that Shioi also kept using all the other magical wands that she stole and also exhibited signs that she was crazy. And these two using their powers at such levels and being batshit crazy is no coincidence. And this makes me think that using magic in excess or on a consistent basis can actually cause brain damage in a magical girl. And if you think about why these girls were chosen to become magical girls, then it makes it pretty obvious that they are just one bad day away from going insane. Just about any ordinary person can slip into madness. And that means even if we can't use Nijimin, we could still use her powers to save Shioi. But letting Nijimin continue to use her powers like this from here on out is out of the question, because she is too unstable and will become completely useless because she will be dead from overusing her powers. Because of this, I'm going to do everything I can to become friends with her and arrange another meeting the next chance I get. Once meeting with her, I would then quickly knock her out from behind, then disarm her magic wand, and then put it on myself. Then I would broadcast onto live TV and ask if all the other magical girls would be willing to come meet me in Nijimin's apartment, because it's more safe for me then, and in this way, I could shortcut everything and have them come to me. All the while, the rest of the country wouldn't know what the heck a magical girl even was. And from here, we could surely find someone with magical powers, because these two here are making things way more complicated than they really need to be. Realizing that they can't use her anymore, Yatsumura makes an excuse for her and Aya to leave. The two return to the hospital to discuss how to find more magical girls, since they obviously can't use Nijimin, but they don't realize that someone is listening in to their conversation. It's Aya's mean classmate, Sarina. She's alive and recovering from her wounds in the same hospital, and she accidentally overhears them talking about the magical girl website, whoops, and their powers and their plans to heal Shioi. Waiting for them to leave, she sneaks into Shioi's room, but discovers this strange little girl, who she doesn't realize is actually the magical girl's website administrator, Nana. She tells the confused Sarina here that Shioi has been disqualified from being a magical girl, but thinks Sarina will make the perfect victim instead. Nana fills Sarina in on the magical girl site and reveals that Aya and Yatsumura are magical girls too. And she tells Sarina that she could exact revenge on those two if she wanted, and tells her that she told Shioi to collect different wands for her before she went into a coma. And now she needs a new magical hunter to help her out with this task, offering Sarina her powerful wand. This this yo-yo. She tells her to go make Aya and Yatsumura pay and bring their wands to her when she's done. And the administrator chuckles sinisterly. The next day in class, Aya realizes Yatsumura isn't there and she's never late to class. And just then, her school teacher announces that someone new will be joining their class today. Pop star Nijimin enters the room and all the kids go wild. She later tells Aya that she's quit her pop star career to focus on finding her friend's killer in order to gut her like a fish, and has now joined Aya's school cause, well, friendship. Wow, that's terrifying. Aya tries not to panic and to think of a plan so Nijimin doesn't find out where Shioi really is. Quickly changing topic, Aya states that she'll go after class to go check on Yatsumura since, well, she didn't show up for class today, and tells her that she'll catch up with her later, not realizing that Serena has followed them and is listening in again. After school, Aya heads to Yatsumura's house but finds the door unlocked. Quickly realizing that something is wrong, she cautiously enters but finds a man tortured right in front of her and Yatsumura passed out nearby. She rushes over to check her out and realizes that she's been using too much of her magic recently and is on the brink of death. Spilling the beans, she confesses to Aya that she was trying to avenge her family's death by torturing their killer, this man. And this is why she became a magical girl in the first place. And that's when Serena enters, chuckling, and reveals a huge plot twist. She tells them that she overheard everything that these two have been planning, and she's told Nijimin where Shioi is being kept. In a matter of seconds, their only hope to figuring out the magical girl website will be slaughtered, along with these two here. Okay, this situation was unexpected and means that we don't have time to mess around. It makes no sense why Yatsumura didn't have any protection at her very own apartment. I mean, especially when she is not only keeping a hostage who she clearly doesn't want to let escape, but also since she's a magical girl, being caught off guard in any situation could mean instant death. Her lazy preparation means that we need to save the day. So annoying. If I was Aya, I would realize that Sabrina here revealing her magic weapon was in fact her biggest mistake, because we can now directly target it. Since we know that on average, the string of a yo-yo is around 110 centimeters, because everybody knows that information. Oh, by the way, that's 43.3 inches. I would quickly leave Yatsumura right where she is, while backing away to the end of the room, ensuring that we would technically be out of range for Serena's weapon, and it would be safe for what comes next. From here, I would rely on Serena's fiery and very aggressive personality and taunt her, and make her attack us as quickly as possible and not think. Once she tries to strike us, I would use my teleportation wand and create a portal right in front of us, with the second exit portal appearing right behind Serena's back. This would ensure that Serena's lethal yo-yo blade would end up killing her instead of us in one swoop. Haha, genius, I love it. Besides, in reality, this move isn't really that hard. If any of you have ever played the game Portal, Serena charges at these two, swiftly killing Yatsumura's hostage, telling Aya that there only needs to be one magical girl left standing in order to collect all the wands. She forces Aya to realize that she is the new magical hunter, but Serena gets a call mid-fight from Nijimin at the hospital, and she complains to her that she can't kill Shioi because she's being protected by some sort of magic trap. On her deathbed, Yatsumura says that she's not letting Shioi die until they get some answers about the Tempest. And what does Serena do? She laughs and wishes them a good journey down to hell. Well, that's when Aya finally grows a freaking pair of cojones and fires her wand back at her. The two go at it in an epic magic battle, blasting rounds and losing precious years off of their life, and the building starts to collapse as Aya last minute uses her extra wand to create a force field around her and Yatsumura. And just then she does the unthinkable. She also uses her magic to save Serena's life. Wow, that is a huge mistake. Minutes later though, help arrives as this blue-haired detective gets out and finds Aya and Yatsumura safe and sound, and they get rushed to the hospital. Elsewhere though, Nijimin has gone absolutely nuts and thinks Aya and Yatsumura betrayed her, wanting revenge. She heads over to Aya's house to rip out her sweet guts, but runs into her brother, and she is shocked because he is so damn hot. The brother lets her in and tells her that Aya isn't home, but recognizes her as the famous pop star, and he asks how her and Aya met, and doesn't believe that his piece of trash sister could be friends with the superstar, and thinks Nijimin is lying to him. Searching up Aya's computer before, he thinks that Aya and her new friends are in fact magical girls, whatever that means. Meanwhile, across the table, Nijimin is losing her mind over how hot Brother Glasses Guy here is, and so she decides to spare Aya's life and only kill Shioi instead, and then she happily leaves Aya's house, not realizing that her brother has now just made her his new target. Back at the hospital, where all the girls are recovering, this stranger wearing an eye patch sneaks into Shioi's room and awakens her from a deep coma with magic. Shioi wakes up in shock, and this girl introduces herself as Kosame and tells her that she and a group of magical girls brought her back because they want to find out what she knows about the Tempest. Shioi, still lost for words, can't help but notice Kosame's magical tattoo being different than the rest of the magical girls. But Kosame tells her the reason why. There are several different magical girl websites and many different administrators. She is a part of another magical girl group, but all of them will soon need to band together if they want to survive because they think all the administrators are hiding something. Moments later, back in Aya's room, her and Yatsumura suddenly wake up, but they're shocked when they see Shioi standing right in front of them. But she updates them on what's going on and what eye patch girl Kosame here told her. The reason the magical girl site exists is to help bring back an evil god known as the Tempest, a god that feeds off of negative energy, and the negative energy is collected inside of everyone's magical wands. The girl who gathers the most wands and delivers it to the Tempest when he arrives will be spared from extinction. Aya and Yatsumura and Shioi realize that everyone here has just been played this whole time, and knowing this, Shioi offers these two a truce and everyone decides to join forces. Kosame also informs them that more magical girls around the country have started to band together as well, but the site administrators never intended for any of them to find out this information, and those that have recently died. Knowing that it won't be long before they are killed for breaking the rules, Kosame says that they need to capture a site administrator as soon as possible so they can find out more information about the end of the world from them. The rest of the girls think they now know what to expect, but Kosame first warns them that as magical girls, they will never reach old age and will likely die in the near future because of the impact their powers have on their bodies. And they have to use their powers, otherwise they'd have no shot at this. And they might even very well die the next day. Even then, knowing the risks, they all accept their fate. And so Kosame gives everyone here the location of where to meet the rest of her team tomorrow. The next day at school, Aya sits in class with Nijimin, and then the teacher announces that they're getting another new student, and Aya's eyes fill up with horror as she sees who it is. It's Shioi, and she stares at Nijimin, who's shocked with lethal excitement. And she is about to use her powers when Yatsumura tackles her, and these two work together to disable her powers, well, if you know what I mean, wink wink. And then they get a text from Kosame to meet them at the park. Heading there, they try to make Nijimin feel better about what they're doing by telling her their plan to stop the end of the world from happening. But Nijimin says that she will only help if she can kill Shioi. Now stuck with a big problem, they meet up with Shioi and the rest of them at the park, but Nijimin starts freaking out again, and Yatsumura tells Nijimin that she's hidden her magical underwear until she calms down. And that's when the group of the other magical girls show up, and they all introduce each other and their powers. Black hair girl, Mikari, Kiyoharu, and red hair girl. Kosame reveals the plans to kidnap the site administrator, but Yatsumura, Shioi, and Aya mentioned that they've all lost their wands yesterday during the collapse at the building, so they need to find their stuff first before they go into battle. And the new magical girls offer them their protection in the meantime, and they use Kyoharu's mind-reading powers here to update everyone when a site administrator shows up. Meanwhile though, Serena is off on her own adventure, collecting more magical wands. And then she finally goes to meet with her site administrator, but then has a change of heart and tells her that she won't hand over all of her wands until she kills Aya and Yatsumura. Annoyed, Nana here tells her that as long as she does as she's told and doesn't snoop around, she won't be killed. That night, Aya finds out from Kyoharu that thanks to her mind-reading powers, she's discovered that Yatsumura is secretly on the brink of death and can't use her magic too many more times or otherwise she'll die. Because of this, Aya organizes a typical anime beach trip the next day with all the magical girls to go enjoy life one more time before they all die. They celebrate together, and Aya becomes super duper best friends with Yatsumura in just 5 anime seconds, and it's oh so cute. But at the end of the day, they return to their lockers and find out that someone has stolen Nijimin's wand. But Nijimin secretly realizes that the thief must be her new secret boyfriend, Glasses Guy, because oops, she recently told him everything and said that he wants her to be safe. But she doesn't share this information with the group and has somehow no idea that she has created the most horrifying serial killer in existence. The girls begin searching for Nijimin's wand when Aya comes across her brother down at the beach and sees him wearing Nijimin's powerful panties, and he uses it to murder this random dude. Watching in shock, Aya hides before he can see her and doesn't tell the other girls about what she just saw. And then they head back to Black Hair Girl's place in order to figure out their next step. Holy crap! up. We are in so much trouble because just like us, Reddit thinks that this glasses guy is seriously scary, and that makes me 100% certain that anyone wearing glasses is bound to be a freak deep down in there somewhere. But what Aya did just now demonstrates a bigger problem with this group, and it has to do with their maturity, because this is going to severely hinder their ability to save the world and themselves. If I was leading this group, I would have from the very beginning vetted all of the magical girls here. I just met them, I'm not gonna bond with them over one beach trip. I would have looked into all of their families, because we are still children after all, and according to science. Around the age of 12 is when children will be the easiest to be influenced. And since we're all still children, this means that statistically, most of us will still have been highly influenced by our families to begin with. And any member here with a family member still alive means that if worse came to worse, this magical girl member would still have a decent chance to choose to be loyal to their family over the magical girl group, and that is a problem. As a group, we are only as strong as our weakest link, by ignoring the fact that we're all mentally unstable. In general, because that's why we're magical girls, I would have placed special watch over members of the group that demonstrated signs of instability with their psyche. Like Aya. Yatsumura clearly knew that her family was messed up, and that her brother was pure evil, and if she was smarter, she could have easily figured out what Aya was up to on the bus back home. Kyoharu accidentally reads Aya's thoughts and discovers the secret about her brother. The police then investigate the murder on the beach, and the same blue-haired guy from earlier shows up. He discovers that this victim was a fan obsessed with Nijimin and finds a photo of her in his pocket. The girls head back to black-haired girl's house, while Nijimin heads home to find glasses guy. She meets up with him and thinks that he's taken her panties because he wants to protect her. What an idiot! He begins to treat her like a dog and makes her regret everything. He tells her that he has no use for her anymore and is about to use his magic powers to murder her when Red Hair Girl suddenly out of nowhere dashes in and knocks him down and reveals that Kyoharu told her about Glasses Guy earlier and she's here to stop him. But then she violently gets choked by Nijimin and discovers that Glasses Guy here gave her orders earlier to protect him at all costs, and now she is completely under his spell, helpless. He uses his magic to command Red Hair Girl to go kill the rest of the magical girls. Using her super speed, she dashes right towards Kyoharu before she even has a chance to act and rips through her chest, and Red Hair Girl's spell wears off. Losing blood, they all quickly head back to Black Hair Girl's house and inform everyone that Kyoharu needs help and that Aya's brother, Glasses Guy, is headed their way. The girls quickly try to rush and heal her, and Aya finally confesses that her brother stole the panties. The rest of the girls rightly become furious at her for keeping such a secret and suspect that Nijimin tried to resolve this issue herself as well. And that's when Glasses Guy shows up ready to kill. The girls try to stop him but are too late and are commanded to kneel down before him and not move a muscle. And that's when he thanks Aya for helping him become a god, and he kicks her in the face. And that's when Nijimin enters the room, and the girls are shocked to find that she is now completely under his control, and she gets ordered to steal all of their wands. But Kyoharu, barely alive, uses her mind-reading powers to break Nijimin's spell and secretly tells her to stop Glasses Guy when she gets the chance. Horrified at what she's done, Nijimin quickly loses it and rushes in to attack Glasses Guy without thinking, like an idiot, and then gets stabbed by him and falls to the floor, and the rest of the girls are forced to watch. Using the last bit of her strength, she manages to stab Glasses Guy in the throat, and he starts spewing blood. He panics and tries to reach for the magic wand that can heal his injuries, but suddenly something stops him. This invisible person. And the bomb goes off in the room, and everybody passes out later. The girls wake up and discover that Glasses Guy has gone missing, but also find that Nijimin here has already taken her first-class flight straight to hell, and everybody starts weeping. The next day, the world is informed of the pop star's death, and some of the girls wonder who saved them and why they stole their wands. Now without weapons, they wonder how they will take on the terrifying administrators. Elsewhere though, Aya finally breaks out of her depression from Nijimin's death and tries to look for her and Yatsumura's wands, back where they battled Serena. But that's when Serena shows up from behind her and holds her up at gunpoint. That afternoon, the girls join the rest of the country, and they show up to Nijimin's funeral. But Aya shows up in haste and magically teleports them all without explanation. And right then, a terrifying bomb goes off at the funeral. But teleported to a safe location, the girls are shocked to see Aya with her wand, and it's pointed right at them. Back at the now destroyed funeral, Nana sits in the middle of it all and chuckles. And then a policeman shows up. It's Blue Hair Guy, and and Nana tells him that if he did his job, then she wouldn't have had to kill the girls. Blue hair guy says that he's killed glasses guy as per orders, and Nana orders him to retrieve the girls' wands in the rubble, and then he disappears. Back at the girls' safe house, Aya tells him what she's found out. The site administrators just tried to have them killed, and tells them that from now on, she will be fighting the bad guys herself, along with Serena. She shows up and reveals that she switched sides since Aya convinced her to now be a good person, and tells them that she has all of their magical wands. And Aya tells the girls that she will handle the fight from now on and will sacrifice herself to save everyone. But Yatsumura pimp slaps the shit out of her and tells her that they're all a team and they knew what they signed up for. And Serena thinks that all of this cuteness is super corny, but Aya finally agrees to let everyone join in, and everybody takes back their wands and they suit up, or wand up, for battle. Serena tells them what she knows about Nana and the administrators. Different administrators have different jurisdictions, and that they should attack one that isn't a part of any of their jurisdictions. This way that administrator won't know their full powers and their capabilities. Using their tech skills, they track down someone online who's about to become a new magical girl, staking out her house and her school, and they wait for an administrator to show up to drop off her wand. And that's when one arrives. But the hot-headed Shioi tries to attack him and misses and gets knocked back, and everyone here realizes that administrators are strong as hell. She tries to attack him again, and they clash weapons, causing a sound wave to break through the building, causing some of the rubble to pin down Aya and Yatsumura. Thinking quickly, Aya teleports this bad guy to the roof to meet Serena, who cuts it down instantly, killing it. And the rest of the girls then arrive, but then they discover that this administrator is human, which means the rest of them must be human too. Whoa, talk about a crazy reveal. This administrator being human makes me think that all of the set administrators were possibly once magical girls. And if that's the case, this could mean that our administrator Nana might have a weakness that we could exploit, because if we remember, Nana only ever used a signature finger gun as a method of attack, even when Nana met up with Serena, which is weird if you consider that these people are basically demigods. You think they'd want to use a bunch of powers, because they'd have no reason not to do so. Knowing this, it means that we could have taken out an administrator or the rest of them much more easily by using shock and awe tactics, or forced concentration against a single administrator, by using overwhelming power and insane displays of force in order to knock out the enemy. By all of us using our magic at the same time, it could be possible that we would have been able to take out one administrator much more easily, which means they aren't as powerful as we might think, and we can use this to finally take out these administrators much more easily. Meanwhile, sensing the battle, Kyoharu and Black Hair Girl head to Aya's location, but then they get stopped by another administrator, and it has the power to create multiples of its body, creating an army. The girls realize that they've just fallen into a trap. Back on the roof, the girls don't have time to think when Nana shows up and reveals that they've been set up because they wanted to lure the girls here all together, and tells them that their reinforcements will never reach them. And Nana quickly shoots Serena down at lightning quick speeds, but then suddenly gets a mental message from Kyoharu saying that they need backup, and so Broomstick Girl goes to save them while the rest of them stay here to fight. And Nana quickly destroys Yatsumura's wand, but she thinks quick and triggers a magic power just as she gets shot down, and Serena's yo-yo chops off one of Nana's arms. Aya and the rest of the group then realize that Yatsumura sacrificed her life to protect these girls because they are now in a magical force field. Elsewhere, Yatsumura suddenly wakes up in an unknown location. Confused, Nana here tells her that the king has selected her to be a new magical girl site administrator. And Nana reveals that, oh, by the way, the king is actually a girl and is the most unfortunate girl in the world. When she, aka the Tempest, arrives, she will erase all misfortune from the world by wiping out most of humanity and create a new one. This giant eyeball suddenly appears right in front of her, and Yatsumura tries to resist getting turned into an administrator, but it's no use. Back on Earth, Aya notices the magical force field about to be destroyed. She teleports the rest of the girls away as the force field disappears, and Yatsumura suddenly wakes up, shocking Aya, but she quickly realizes that she's different. And Nana cheers her on and announces that Yatsumura has been reborn as a site administrator recruit. But in order to become a full-time one, she will need to consume a lot more negative energy by killing and stealing Aya's negative energy. Meanwhile, Broomstick Girl finally reaches Black Hair Girl and saves her from this monster. Getting followed, they come up with a plan, heading on top to this building. Black Hair Girl uses the full force of her powers to completely destroy this administrator. Back at the school though, Aya tries to run away from Yatsumura, and Nana tells her that the more negative Aya feels about the world, the more powerful the king will become. Aya thinks fast and teleports behind Yatsumura and transports both of them to the beach they all visited before. Here, she tries to remind Yatsumura of the good times they had and tells her that because of her, she now loves life and doesn't feel angry anymore. And in response, Yatsumura chokes her and is about to kill her. And that's when Aya's cuteness finally breaks her spell. And Nana then shows up to catch the final show. And that's when these two girls surprise Nana and combine their powers to freeze time and teleport them right back to near Aya's house, where it all began. Now trapped by Yatsumura's powers, these two tell Nana that they will use what little life they have left to find and save the rest of the magical girls out there and take down the Tempest King. And they unfreeze time and let Nana get smashed in by this incoming train. Then they get happy about life, and even the rest of the magical girls survive, even Serena. It's amazing. And everyone here prepares to fight the rest of the administrators, save humanity, and eventually take down the Tempest King. Elsewhere though, blue-haired cop guy enters this secret dungeon where he's keeping Glasses Guy, and he wakes up afraid and notices all the magical wands hanging from the wall. Blue-haired guy reveals that he's known about him from the start, and he has big plans for him, but says that Glasses Guy has been a bad boy and first needs to be punished. And the light goes off, and Glasses Guy squeals. So guys, what do you think? Did you like the video or didn't you like the video? Let us know what you think about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And as always, don't forget to check out our How to Be playlist.